One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. It's BV. It's BV. BV. It's BV.
Yeah.
It's BV. It's BV.
BV.
It's BV.
BV.
It's BV.
It's BV and Jellified, Jimmy Beam and Bly, reaching highest where we reach, yo, it's highest to the stars. Beats in the villain Jeep, vibrating other cars. Whose world is this? Yo, we say the world is ours. So we grow beards, no fear, photos so clear. Take another shot, so to speak, yeah, more beer. BV worldwide, with a fist to the sky. Cheers, cheers, New Year's, dope rhyme, good vibes. My crew speaks power, Chi-Town bleeds power. Knowledge, wisdom, and truth in the final hour. Respect, loyalty, family, charity speaks power. Here the villain's brotherhood speaks honor. Forwards and onwards, stay villain to the end. I will never shave again because my beard is not a trend. I represent excellence, leadership, and never follow. I'm a BBC member, yo, lieutenant of Chicago.
One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. It's BV. 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 Yo, all I...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 95. That's right, episode 95 of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the bearded villain worldwide brotherhood and the lives they are changing all over this world. Guys, I'm tired tonight. I know that's not what you really want to hear, but thank you guys so much for being here. It is Saturday. It is Saturday night, not Friday night. A bunch of stuff went on this week and delayed me a little bit in getting some stuff done. I had to focus my efforts elsewhere and just was not prepared, to be honest, in time to be able to give a podcast last night. So those of you who endured, those of you who suffered the last 24 hours without already having this in your life, Welcome back, and thank you for coming back on a Saturday night. Hopefully you found something fun to do with your Friday night. Just remember, in a few weeks, you will have to find something fun to do every Friday night that doesn't include The Heart of a Villain, because after episode 100, we're kicking it back to Thursday nights. So, just as a reminder, remember that. Oh, guys, thank you so much for being here. Episode 95, 5 more to go till we get to that 100. It is the 7th of August, if I'm not mistaken. What a fun day today was. I'm going to get into that a little bit when I talk about some chapter news. I will be a little stingy and talk a little bit about some news within my own chapter because we had a really fun day today. And that's part of the reason why I'm a little bit tired. Part of it's for a variety of other things. But hey, this episode, guys, what I wanted to do is to kind of take a step back a little bit and reminisce a little bit with one of our prior guests, and not so much a full interview with him, but just like, I don't know, it came out to about a minute of his words of what he said. Some of the most poignant words that one of our brothers said in a prior interview that I had so many podcast episodes ago, way back with episode 41. And if anybody wants to catalog back and figure out who that might be before I announce who that I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes, he had such great insight into such a great positive outlook on life. And sometimes it's weird how something comes across either on TV, something comes across the news, something you read comes across your mind, and it just kind of you can't pivot away from that. Your mind just goes there, and you just focus on this one thought, and you focus so hard that it just kind of consumes you. And you know, I'm all about positivity. I talk about it so much here, and talk about inspiration and everything that is inspirational. And we talk about, you know, how to find that in your life and how to share that with other people. And I've probably had at least 5 podcast episodes that had something to do with inspiration in some way, shape, or form. Then I got to thinking this past week, I've been talking for a while about this documentary film that I'm doing. And it kind of struck me both with that thought, the whole premise and the whole idea of being a documentary filmmaker, even in the amateur style that I am trying to be, but all that entails of documentary filmmaking of a very specific nature. And then there's a little show that came across the screen while I was folding laundry earlier this week. And many of you, I'm sure, know the TV show The Office, the U.S. version. And I'm sorry, I've not really watched the U.K. version. So those of you guys over in the U.K., I do apologize. I know you guys are much more leaning toward the U.K. version. You hate the U.S. version, I'm sure, as I've understood it to be. But there was an episode on that, and it was the finale. It was a series as I was doing some cleaning in the house and whatnot. They had the finale episodes in order through to the finale. And you just sit there, and sometimes when a finale comes on from a show that you've watched, even if you've watched that finale multiple times before, it could be a movie. It could be a scene in the movie that you watch that you've seen a dozen times or more. But it just kind of tugs at the heartstrings a little bit. It just makes some thought in your mind very clear. And that's kind of what happened to me this week, because I'd been thinking about this whole premise of being your own documentary filmmaker. And I have been much of the persuasion of saying to people that you need to cherish and find those times in your life that you can recognize them in the moment and cherish them. Don't let them pass. And there was a part in one of the episodes, and I'm going to talk about that again in just a few minutes in the finale episode, that I had to watch back a couple times because it was, I mean, you guys know as well as I do, Hollywood has some amazing writers. And it's not these actors all 99% of the time that come up with these great one-liners or these great theories or thoughts about life. And sometimes it's a writer that comes up with just a new tilt, a new way of saying something that is just so memorable and creative. And that happened with two of the characters in this in the show. And it was just something that stuck with me as I was trying to process my thoughts for what I wanted to do with this week. So that's just kind of a tease real quick. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes. But it's all about recognizing the moment when you're in the moment. And kind of the idea behind this episode is to be the documentary filmmaker of your own life. If you get where I'm coming from. So we'll dive back into that in just a minute. First, I want to recognize everybody that is here live that took some time out on a Saturday night. Robaba with the 2 B's. He is here hanging out with us. Thanks so much for being here. It's Sunday over there. So always count on him. And great to see Phil, Mr. Phil McCracken, stopping by on a Saturday night. He's a busy guy out doing fun stuff. There's a guy right there. Lives life to its fullest, right? Phil, great to see you in here, Phil. Nick, how you doing, buddy? Great to see you here as well. And I know Josh was in here. Yep, there he is. I see him there. Phil, we were helping Phil do something tonight. Look at that. Phil says, I'm learning to count backwards as the countdown timer was going. Well, I'm glad that we could help you out with that, Phil. Always good to help you. So, okay, that's who we've got that I can see that's live right now. Thank you guys for being here. I do want to take a quick second, talk about the chapter merch to just relay real quick to you guys as a reminder what is out there in the world, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of stuff today. But please keep this in mind. Now, some of this stuff, I'm not 100% sure if it's all still here. So check your local listings, I guess. Check with these chapters. I believe this one is still active out there. This collaboration between the New York, the upstate New York chapter, the Unicorn Squad, and L.A. It is a patch and T-shirt set that's benefiting the Padre Foundation. Go out there and read about what the Padre Foundation's doing and does. Very cool stuff. But the New York Unicorn Squad at the New York Unicorn Squad.Big Cartel is where you can get this stuff. A very interesting patch. You got to look at it like for a couple minutes just to see all the detail and everything that's in that patch for $12. And then they've come out with a really cool shirt with multiple logos on it for anywhere between $21 and $24, benefiting again the Padre Foundation. So check those guys out. I believe this is still active, but I'm sure if it's not, somebody can fix me on this. The Bearded Villains Orlando chapter has a patch that they were doing. They're calling it Kaylin's patch. Bearded Villains ORL.BigCartel.com is where you can pick that guy up. It's a really cool multicolored unicorn patch with a K written into the design of the patch. But check the story out with the I don't want to misquote, I don't want to mis-explain the situation that Kaylin's going through or has gone through so far. But a very touching and heartfelt idea here to raise some money for Kaylin here. So Bearded Villains ORL.BigCartel.com for $10 for that patch. Do not forget that this month we just started new patches for the Autism Puzzle Patch set. The puzzle that includes, I believe, 36 pieces. We are on to piece number 5 and piece number 6 of the puzzle, if my math is correct. Again, same price as always, $9 plus shipping. This month, the release of Bearded Villains Northern Virginia, the Nova patch. That is available at bvnova.bigcartel.com. Again, bvnova.bigcartel.com. And then the other patch release for this month is Oregon's patch. Look at that bright colors. BV Oregon with their X Factor on there. It's available at beardedvillainsOregon.bigcartel.com. BeardedvillainsOregon.bigcartel.com. Remember, guys, we're in that phase now where every one of these patches, once they're gone, they're gone. So if you're trying to collect the entire patch set of 36 patches, don't miss out. Make sure you get them while the getting's good. While the getting's good. Also, national meet coming up this time next week, we'll be there. Proceeds are benefiting this patch set here. Proceeds benefit the Miami Villains Wish, and it's on sale at laoriginals.bigcartel.com. $25 for both of these very cool, very bright, bold patches. One representing Miami, one representing LA. Again, this is the proceeds of which go to Miami's Villain Wish. $25 for both. If they're not out, they're going to be gone soon. So grab one of those if you can. One of those sets. They've only got them as a set anymore. And then I just want to give a quick shout out to our brother Optimus from the BVC, who does such great work with his Shiversity brand and the cool shirts that he represents with that, his King Optimus stuff. He helped me out in the very, very beginning here with the logo for the podcast and stuff like that. So always got to give Optimus a big shout out at shiversitybrand.bigcartel.com. He's got a ton of different really cool designs for shirts if you're interested in that. Shirts, hats. I think he has hats still. Patches, all cool stuff, guys. Please don't forget also that Chicago is doing regular donation drives. If you live near Chicago and can donate any of these items that are on the screen, if you can hit those guys up, and even if it's something that they're not going to be sending out to the homeless shelters anytime soon, they can collect it and hold on to it for the next time that they are. And then finally, guys, I just want to remind you, keep your eyes out for this bad boy. To celebrate the 100th episode of the podcast, I have 100 of these patches that were going to be available. And the proceeds from this patch, I hate to say selfishly, are going to come right back to here, because I have stuff that I'm renting and paying for the podcast and for the documentary film. So I have financial needs to be paid for, so I can continue to do what I'm doing here, and also so that I can make sure that the documentary film is the best that it can be. So 100, these are our gold, baby. These are shiny gold. Heart of a Villain 100 patches. So there's only going to be 100 of them out there available when the time comes. So just keep your eyes and ears open for those. All right. So guys, let's just move along here. As I said before, the documentary film is coming along. We've got Miami this coming week. If you are going to Miami and you see me around with some cameras walking around, just play it off, okay? No need to come up and fanboy all over the camera and act like a teenager seeing his first camera or something like that. Just play it off. I'm trying to get some cool B-roll to show the world what the Bearded Villains are doing. So you'll see me out and about with cameras doing stuff all weekend long while we're down there in Miami. So I can't wait to be able to get some stuff enough to show you guys kind of the vibe I'm going with for this as time goes on. So we'll take it from there. All right. Jay is confused. I have to bring this up on the live screen here. Jay says, okay, I'm confused. You weren't on last night, but you are on tonight, yet I didn't get a notification. WTF. I don't know what to tell you, Jay. I don't know. Are your notifications only set for Fridays? I don't know what to tell you. I tried to let everybody know that it was postponed from last night and moving to tonight, so everybody just keep an eye out for it. So, and all of you that are listening on standard podcast platforms just don't care. All right. So, as I said before, guys, I mentioned that this thought that just kept rattling around in my head all week was this idea of being your own documentary filmmaker of your own life. And one of the things that one of the reasons that that this thought just kept flying around in my head was that it seems that the older we get in life, we're so dependent on our memories of what happened way back in the day, right? And now, because of technology, we are able to keep an accurate audio and or video record of different events in our lives. Before, if you're a child of the 70s or 80s or even the 60s, when they had the reel-to-reel things, you could videotape things. You could get the VHS, the big honking VHS camera out on dad's shoulder, the shoulder mounted camera with the big red light. You could do that stuff and record it. But then to go back and watch it almost had to be this family event to be able to, get the camera back out, because you usually had to plug the camera in or hook it up through your VCR or something like that. And everybody wanted to watch it. But it was this big thing. And because you couldn't edit things down, because you weren't just going to record 10-second clips or, different things here and there. And now it's so much easier for us to do that. But I think there's a catch-all there. There's two sides of that coin, I guess is what I'm looking to say. Because with technology now, we always have our phones in our pockets. Most everybody does. And it seems so easy for us to have access to that little recording device that now we almost have lost touch with everything that is and can be appreciated about something happening live in that moment. And Facebook's bad for so many things, right? But Facebook was actually good for a couple reasons this past week for me, because some little picture would pop across the screen and it was one of those, hey, did you notice that this is this? Or, it's just kind of oh my gosh, I would never have realized that. Those kind of pictures that scroll across your Facebook feed. I love those. So this one picture came across, and I've seen it before, but it just perfectly came across my timeline this week, of course, again, in perfect timing for what I was trying to talk about this week. And whereas I say in one breath that I want us to be the documentary filmmaker of your own life, I want us to embrace and recognize in the moment what's going on. This picture, and you can go out and Google this picture. You can go find it. It is a historical concert photo. And if I'm not mistaken, it was taken either at the final performance of Live Aid when Queen performed, or it was one of the final performances where Queen was on stage. And the photograph that was taken is from behind and up over the left shoulder of Freddie Mercury, looking out on what he is seeing as he's singing. And through this image, as you look out onto the thousands and thousands of people, and this image is so crisp that you can see and make out all of these faces. And the thing that sticks so hard home with me for this picture is when you look at this image, you have a man standing up in front of all these people performing, and you have every single pair of eyes glued to what this man is doing. There's not a stray eye out there. Everybody's eyes are straight forward looking at him in happiness, in joy, in amazement, whatever their expression is. They're all glued there. But there's a caption that came across with this photo, and you probably wouldn't be surprised to know it, but the caption basically said, "Not a cell phone or camera anywhere to be seen." Now, if you've gone to a concert anywhere in the last 10 years, think about that for a second. When was the last time you went to a concert where there was not a phone or a camera of any kind taken out, arms raised up in the air, people trying to get the best possible picture to remember something by, people trying to, get their moment, get their video clip so they can share it or whatever they want to do with it. And then those of us that are standing back behind these people, all we see is a blurry stage and a whole bunch of little 3.5-inch video screens facing us. Not a single one of these people that are doing this are living in the moment. They're trying to capture that. They're trying to hold on to it so that they can relive it. But how, you tell me, how in the world can you relive something as grand and as huge as that moment, surrounded by thousands and thousands of people watching one of the premier performers of your time, doing what they love, enjoying it to the fullest, when you're trying to make sure a little 3.5-inch screen is capturing them and you're focused on that? And then if you go back and play that later, is that going to be anything like the type of atmosphere that you came across and you saw once before all those years ago? No, it's not. So what amazes me is that people are so focused on that. And so that image is just burned into my memory, where I think, and I see this and I'm amazed. I'm amazed to see that is such a huge transition that we have gone through over these years. That the invention of the cell phone and its birth, and with all the cameras and all the video devices that are out there now. If you're a child of anything where you went to a concert in the early 80s or anything earlier than that, you'll remember we had tickets that you had to go buy. You had to stand in line to go buy tickets. And what did every single one of those tickets say? On the bottom, below the name of the venue, what did it say? No cameras or recording devices allowed. No cameras or recorders allowed. Now, they did that for a reason, because they didn't want you to record it. They wanted you to buy the music later, but that was such a good thing. And now with cell phones out there, they can't do that anymore, because there's always going to be people violating that. So I think back to that moment in time. I think back to that video, that image. And I realize, looking back on all of these faces, every single one of these people is living in the moment. They are embracing the moment. And they are fully enjoying the moment for what it is. Now, why is this a big thing for me? Because the older I get, the more I look back on life. And no, I'm not, it's not like a midlife crisis thing, but I'm very happy that I am able to recognize things in the moment. I'm very happy that I'm able to recognize, when certain parts of your life come by, how important they are and how they are a transitional moment to some other part of your life. That's what I'm talking about when I say that I want to push everybody to say to be their documentary filmmaker of their own life. John Lennon once said, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." Right? Now think about that for a second. If you've never even thought about that, how deep of a thought that is. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. We're so busy jumping around and jumping through hoops in our lives to plan out the next 6 months, the next 6 weeks, the next 6 years of our life. What's one of those job questionnaires that you're asked or maybe they don't so much ask it anymore, but I know it was always asked when I was, applying for jobs when you're at, late teenager, when you're all through your 20s and your college years, you always hear that question. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to be doing in 5 years? I don't care. Don't think about 5 years. What do you want to be doing in 5 minutes? What do you want to be doing 5 weeks from now? 5 years? Who has that kind of thought process? Who has that kind of time to think that far ahead? And just because you're not thinking that far ahead, does that mean that you're not planning? No. But we have to live within the time that we're in. Life is what happens while you're busy making other plans. You can be so busy making plans for the future that you don't recognize the great things that are happening within your life right now. Talk to any person that is able to talk about their own life in a hospice situation. Talk to anybody who is in the last end stages of their life with the dreaded cancer that we all hate, or any number of other diseases that are out there. Inevitably, they will tell you that more often than not, they spent so much time planning for life that they forgot to live life. So when I think about being your own documentary filmmaker, what does a documentary filmmaker do? Well, a documentary filmmaker catches people in the moment, finds the story, and that can be your story. You find your own story. But you can record, and it doesn't have to be a visual recording on a phone or a camera. But you can make sure that you're recording into your own memory banks this thing that's happening, because you're in the moment. You're in pure enjoyment factor, focusing in on whatever you are going through at that moment. You're focused on the sights, the sounds, the smells. You're focused on the faces, the smiles of the people that are there. Or in some cases, you're focused on the tears. But live in that moment. Live in that moment. As I got to thinking about this, there's a couple movies that came to mind too. Um, if you've ever seen the movie Along Came Polly. Okay, so Along Came Polly, the main character, Reuben, has a best friend named Sandy, who apparently was a child actor. And as a child actor, he was of some acclaim, but didn't do anything after that in his character's life. So later in the movie, his best friend Sandy comes to him with a film crew and tells him that he is being used as the subject for an true Hollywood story. And so he's got the film crew following him around. And as many of you know, from the time back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had those true Hollywood stories where they would catch up with celebrities from back in the day and find out what they're doing now, what happened to their lives, all that stuff. And then, so how cool was that he's having his own true Hollywood story, only to find out that he paid these guys himself to make his own true Hollywood story because nobody wanted one from him. It's important that we recognize those moments in our life when we can just look back and laugh at ourselves, when we can look back and cry and spend those quiet moments thinking about what we did with our lives. One of our brothers in one of my interviews several months ago, reminded us to be inspired by people more than actions. And I love that. And I think it's important to find that where you can. That's not always possible. So sometimes we find inspiration in people. And one of the things I mentioned at the very beginning, and I mentioned in the chat at the beginning of this episode, that I was going to be going out on a little bit of a limb. Because as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that I was watching an episode of The Office when I was spitballing different ideas around here. Now, I'm going to play just a little clip of the end of the episode of The Office, the finale episode, because I think whether the YouTube algorithm strikes against me because of it and mutes the thing or whatever it is, for those of you who are here live to experience it, I think you're going to get it, and you'll be able to see it without it being struck. Now, anybody that tries to watch this later, if YouTube has come back after me and taken that part of it down, I apologize in advance. But if you're interested in what I'm about to play, it is from the finale. It's the last couple minutes of the finale of The Office from the U.S. But if you're not familiar with The Office, and I think almost by now everybody is, it's the premise being that there is a paper company in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and there's always cameras documenting the lives and the ongoings in the people's lives from this paper company. And sometimes it's not really clear why. If you come in, halfway through this series, it's one of those TV shows where they play to the camera for reaction. They're very aware, the characters are very aware that the cameras are there. Now, if you didn't know, that the premise being that there's a documentary film being created about these people, about their lives, and over the course of all of these years. So in the finale, they get a chance to talk back to the camera about what it's been for them. And it just really hit home with me, guys, because I was like, absolutely amazed at some of the thought processes that come through. And it's such a great reminder. And what I want you to take from this, those of you who are able to watch this now, what I want you to take from this is be able to recognize these moments. Not everybody has a full-on camera crew walking around with them to document these moments in your life. So don't be afraid to do it yourself. And if there are times that you want to truly videotape something that's going on in your life, do it. Who cares what other people think? Life's too short not to. So going out on a limb here, I'm going to share this with you guys and come back in just a minute.
Oh.
Okay, I need to adjust something. For some reason, it didn't flip over. Let's see if I can get it. We're doing what we can here, folks. That's what the problem was. All right. So now I'll have to do a little editing to take that part out. So here's the clip from The Office, guys.
Oh. I saw a friend today, it had been a while, and we forgot each other's names, but it didn't matter, 'cause deep inside, the feelings still remain the same.
Imagine going back and watching a tape of your life. You could see yourself change and make mistakes and grow up. You could watch yourself fall in love, watch yourself become a husband, become a father. You guys gave that to me. And that's an amazing gift.
Hey Jim, remember Flonkerton when you did Office Olympics? It was awesome.
Thanks, Phil.
I still have my medal from that.
Do you even have a mattress?
No, but I still have my medal from that.
Oscar, I think I'm gay.
Why do you say that?
It's just that I'm so emotional.
You're not gay. You're not gay.
No, but maybe the
You're
reason.
not gay.
And all the faces that I know have that same familiar glow. I think I must have known them somewhere once before.
How did you do it?
All the
How did you capture what it was really like? How we felt, and how we made each other laugh, and how we got through the day. How did you do it? Also, how do cameras work?
Every day when I came into work, all I wanted to do was leave. So why in the world does it feel so hard to leave right now?
It all seems so very arbitrary. I applied for a job at this company because they were hiring. I took a desk at the back because it was empty. But no matter how you get there or where you end up, human beings have this miraculous gift to make that place home. Let's do this.
I just feel lucky that I got a chance to share my crummy story with anyone out there who thinks they're the only one to take a dump in a paper shredder. You're not alone, sister. Let's get a beer sometime.
I'm happy that this was all filmed so I can remember everyone and what we did. I worked for a paper company all these years and I never wrote anything down.
I sold paper at this company for 12 years. My job was to speak to clients on the phone about quantities and types of copier paper. Even if I didn't love every minute of it, everything I have, I owe to this job. This stupid, wonderful, boring, amazing job.
I thought it was weird when you picked us to make a documentary. But all in all, I think an ordinary paper company like Dunder Mifflin was a great subject for a documentary. There's a lot of beauty in ordinary things. Isn't that kind of the point?
All right, guys. So we'll find out down the road how much of that gets a strike against it. But I wanted to play that, guys, because it's such a great reminder for us to live in that moment where we are right now, because we are not going to have a film crew following us around during our lives. But there are going to be moments that you're going to want to remember. And it's extremely important for us to make sure we do. That finale part of The Office is actually, I think, done in 2 or 3 parts. And in one of the parts, I couldn't go back and find the one little clip of this one-liner. But I think it's probably the best one line uttered by this character the entire series. And it's Andy Bernard, his character. And he's talking about recognizing something, and people are always talking about the good old days, right? We're always talking about, remember the good old days, remember the good old days. Well, Andy says, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. How freaking amazing is that? I wish there was a way to know that you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. And unfortunately, there's really not. So that's why it's imperative. That one quote right there was the thing that pushed this whole premise behind me for this week. Stop looking back. We're always going to look back on those good old days. We're always going to look back on those good old days, but there's no way to know when you're in the moment what those days are. So take the time to see them for the moments that they are that you're living through. Now, why is this really important for us right now? Well, because we're coming out of a COVID pandemic year. We're halfway through this year, and it sounds like in certain parts of the country, things are starting to get locked down again or come close to it, or different restrictions are popping back up. It's just a reminder that time is fragile, and we never know one day or the next what's going to be happening. So while it's great for us to plan ahead, plan your vacations ahead, plan all that stuff ahead, don't do it to the detriment of living in the moment that you're currently in and seeing those moments for what they are. I think that's extremely important for us. I'll take it to this level. I bypassed talking a little bit about, I said I was going to talk for a second about our chapter, my chapter, with something that we did today. This goes right into this topic because I don't think that I would have fully acknowledged, I would have fully appreciated and just soaked in today for all of what it was if my mind was not already sitting there, triggered, waiting for this topic. So just as a real quick backstory here, I was contacted by one of our brothers with the Welsh chapter. And Andy told me that one of the projects that they did about 6 months ago, where they were able to help an organization that had donated a handicap accessible swing to a handicapped young girl over there in the UK. They were able to help put this thing together for her, and so that she could enjoy swinging while in her wheelchair. It's a platform swing. And there's this organization that basically donates these to people. And having seen this, that they had done this several months back, I was really inspired by what they did. I didn't think that it was anything that I would ever be able to do. But then out of the blue, he reaches out to me and says, hey, any chance you guys are near Fort Wayne, Indiana? And I said, well, actually, yeah, our chapter covers Fort Wayne. And he informed me that there was a young man who is handicapped and in a wheelchair who was going to be granted, he was going to be awarded a chair, or a chair swing like they put together over there from this organization. And this organization, go out and check them out. It's a 501c3. They're based out of Florida, and it's called We Are Rare, R-A-R-E in capital letters. We Are Rare, Inc. So We Are Rare, Inc. Awarded this chair, or this swing for a wheelchair, to this family in Fort Wayne. And I was so excited for us to have the opportunity to participate in this and put this thing together for somebody who was now going to have the ability to enjoy that swinging motion that we all take for granted as children. The simple act of being on a swing set for somebody who grows up their entire life in a wheelchair, that's the simplicity that they may not ever get. And so this contraption, this swing set with a platform on it that they're able to use a ramp and wheel up into, allows them to do this. Now, I knew that this was going to be a very fun day, full of laughter, full of emotion. But when I was paying attention to my topic for this week, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to wait to do the podcast until tonight, because knowing that I was going to be doing this earlier today, I wanted to take a moment and I wanted to just soak it in. I wanted to be able to take those moments after we got the swing together to look at the families' faces. And they had so many family members there. There must have been 25 family members there today. We had members of the fire department, the local fire department there. We had people from the local newspaper there. We had a handful of our brothers from Northern Indiana, Bearded Villains there, helping to put it together. The firemen helped us put it together. And every so often, I let myself take a second and just step back and just look and just take it in. And it's one of the things that taught me was that you can do something like that without feeling that you're being lazy. You can do something like that without feeling like you're not doing your part. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes. It can be something as simple as recognizing and taking a few seconds out, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And so when the time came for this little man, his name's Uriah, to get onto this swing, it was an incredible moment. And Uriah he's nonverbal. He's nonverbal, so he doesn't speak back to you. But through his facial expressions, through his smile, through his very hidden, deep laughter, you can tell what it does for him. You could tell what it was for his father and for his mother to see him enjoying this. And so that was important to me, not just to be a part of it, not just to help out and see it, but as a human, to recognize humanity, to recognize that this is a moment we're never going to see again. We might do something like this again, but this is a moment that can live on in my life. This is a moment that can live on in the lives of every single person that's there as a really cool memory if they give themselves the chance to enjoy it and to see it. And so I wanted to share this. This was a video that was taken by one of our guys that was there. But this was just so cool. The moment and I'm glad I didn't have a camera in my hand at the time. I'm glad I was able to just stand back and watch. And you'll see, those of you who are still here, you'll see later tonight or in the coming days, more photos we're going to post of the process of putting this together. And then we have a close-up video one of our guys took of Uriah's face and the amazing smile. But this was taken a little further back. And this just shows not only the pure joy, but you hear the family members that are there that have watched this young man grow up, and they too see and feel what he's feeling. So just take a minute with me here.
He's ready.
There you go. There's actually a wheelchair bound. He does street sports in wheelchair.
All right.
The pure joy, guys, and his family members, and everybody that was there. Unforgettable. And, you know, it would have been very easy for me to just not take the moment, take those minutes to really appreciate what it was that we were witnessing. And that's one of the things I want us to focus on. Now that Bearded Villains, that our chapters, our guys are out there doing things again. You're going to be involved in acts of charity that are going to touch people's lives. You're going to be involved in acts of charity that are going to send out those ripples. You're going to do something, and that something's going to affect somebody else's life down the road. You know the theory of the ripple. But don't just let that moment slip by. I'm begging you guys to take those few seconds when you're involved in any of these types of activities. Take those few seconds to truly appreciate what they are and what they mean to everybody involved, and recognize them for what they are. That's what I'm talking about when I say to be your own documentary filmmaker of your own life. Think about those moments in your mind, what you're witnessing. You may not have a camera and a sound stage and everything set up to record something, but you're recording a memory. You're recording something in your own mind that you will be able to remember. And you're going to have emotion. You're going to have sounds. You're going to have smells attached to all of it. The mind is an amazing thing. So that's one of the things I want to implore you guys to do, is to see those moments for what they are. Now, I mentioned one of our brothers that I wanted to just revisit something real quick. And this goes back to our brother from Tampa Bay, Brian, Baby Glock. He said something that has always stuck with me, and it goes right along hand in hand with this thought right now, to recognizing things in the moment, living in the moment, right? He's always preaching and reminding us, and you see his Instagram posts that he says, every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. But then he tells the story of the words that he will never forget from a friend of his who was tragically lost a short time later. Here's his words.
Don't bother me like they used to, and I look at life a lot differently, and just being alive inspires me. What can I do today to make myself happy or other people around me happy? Because it's all about making memories, man. It's you know, I had a friend years ago. He was a professional fighter, you know, like kind of UFC style. Great guy. Anyway, he always told us anytime, this is years ago, he said, you know, take pictures, make videos, make memories. And he was murdered like 6 months after that. Oh. And I hear it all the time, like, take pictures, make videos, make memories. So that things like that inspired me. Little sayings that someone that you came across, you know, years ago, or someone, just a quote on TV or commercial, something just sparks. Yeah. Go out and try root. I don't know really how to answer what inspires me fully, but I think just life, man. You know, just enjoy it while you're here, and just be happy and make some memories. Go out with your boys. You know, it's just every day's a gift, man. You know?
Every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. Go out, live life, make memories. Live life and make memories. Take pictures, take videos. Be your own documentary filmmaker of your own life. If anyone can do it, it's you. You're the one that's responsible for doing that. And we're living in a time right now where it's so easy for us to do. But we have to give ourselves the option to have that moment. We have to be able to take away all that other stuff that's floating around. Don't be in such a hurry to be perfect. Don't be in such a hurry to have every little thing. One of our brothers, Puzzle, Hector, reminds me of that on a constant basis regarding this podcast. If I'm out trying to do a live stream somewhere and something's not going right, he reminds me to calm down. It'll happen. Don't be so caught up in the hows, in the whys. Focus on what you can and see each moment for what it is. That's what I've got for you this week, guys. Focus on what you can and make the most of the time that you have and the things that you see and you experience in life. Make those your memories. Make those moments part of your documentary film in your head. And they'll never leave you. If you are looking for an all-natural beard oil that will not only tame your beard and coarse hairs, but make your beard soft and smell amazing, check out Pulpo Beard Oils. Veteran-owned and made for today's beards, Pulpo beard products combine the best beard ingredients on the market with incredible customer service to ensure your happiness. Whether you need beard wash, beard oil, beard balm, or some fun clothing, Pulpo is the place to go. Feel fresh, feel savage, feel confident with Pulpo Beard Oils. Go to Pulpo Beard Oils, that's Pulpo beardoils.com, and use the code The Heart of a Villain for a discount on your order. Okay, guys, this is the time. We're going to slide into our calendar of events. Now, as we know, Miami is the next one on the event book for next week. I am going to be going down midweek. I'll be down there Thursday. If you're going to be down there, I can't wait to see you. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a great time. As I said before, I'll be the fool walking around with the camera like crazy, trying to capture images of the event for the documentary film itself. But I will follow my own advice, guys. And that's one of the things that I love. I'm going to follow my own advice, and I'm going to make memories. I'm going to take time out to put the camera down and enjoy the brotherhood of the people that are there. That's important. Very important. All right. So we have the Miami International Meet, August 13th through the 15th in Miami, Florida. It's going to be warm. It's going to be humid. And it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. This weekend coming up, I look forward to being able to share with you guys some insight, some interviews for next week's podcast. More details on that. If I did not already tell you, next week is not going to be a live stream from the event. Instead, I'm going to take time to record a bunch of stuff and interviews, and I will be able to put together the podcast 1 or 2 days late. But as part of me following my own ideas and my own thought processes in this, I'm going to try to invest in the memories, invest in those times. So I'm going to record what I can for the podcast, but I'm going to focus solely on the brotherhood while I'm there, as a brother of mine once reminded me that I should be doing. So also, September 10th through the 12th, guys, the Four Corners Meet, hosted by the Bearded Villains, Phoenix, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. It is in Cortez, Colorado. Remember, the Four Corners Meet is for brothers only. Brothers only. Don't try to sneak anybody in. September 10th through the 12th, Four Corners Meet. Again, that's in Cortez, Colorado. Then September 24th to the 26th, I will be there for this one as well. The East Coast Meet, hosted by the Bearded Villains, West Virginia, It's in Parkersburg, West Virginia. They have information now up on their sites for the event, for the beard competition. You can register for that now, as I understand it. And that is for the Bearded Villains West Virginia chapter. So hit them up on Instagram, get out there, and do what you got to do. September 24th to the 26th. Then October 8th and 9th, the Bearded Villains Missouri Valley chapter has a beard competition benefiting Friends of Kids with Cancer. Friends of Kids with Cancer. It's Friday with a meet and greet. There's a silent auction, a 50-50 raffle. The beard comp's on Saturday, Tin Roof. It's going to be a good weekend, guys. I wish I could make that one. Unfortunately, I've got birthdays to be here for. So October 8th and 9th, Bearded Villains Missouri Valley Beard Comp. Again, benefiting Friends of Kids with Cancer. Then October 15th and 16th. October 15th and 16th is the Florida Summit in Pensacola Beach, Florida. I don't know if they're keeping the details on this hush-hush right now or not, but I haven't seen any. So they're not sharing, at least not with me. But hit up the guys in Florida, somebody, for the Florida Summit, October 15th and 16th. Then locally here, up here in northern Indiana, in Valparaiso on October 23rd. Come one, come all, come everybody to Ezra Crow's Halloween Havoc. We've got a beard competition. We've got a costume contest, a bunch of other surprises coming on. It benefits the Ronald McDonald Houses of Northern Indiana. We're going to have a great time here. So hit us up October 23rd, Ezra Crow's Halloween Havoc. It's in Valparaiso, Indiana, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Northern Indiana. Then the next weekend is another chance to do a beard competition and costume contest and a whole bunch of other stuff. But that's the next one, and that's down with the Rocket City Boys. The Rocket City Bearded Villains have Downtown Halloween Bash. That one's October 30th. So, hey, 2 weeks, week back-to-back. In back-to-back weeks, you can do 2 different Halloween events. How cool would that be? October 23rd and then October 30th for the Downtown Halloween Bash, hosted by the Rocket City Bearded Villains. Hit up the Rocket City Boys for some further information on that. They've got a whole bunch of plans coming. And then we slide into November. We've got 3 things on the books for November right now. 2 of them on the same weekend. On November 12th through the 14th. November 12th through the 14th is Battle of the Beards 2021, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Southern Indiana. Always a great time going to veterans charities. They've raised a ton of money for this one, as they do in years past. It's always a great time. Again, November 12th through the 14th, Battle of the Beards 2021 in Southern Indiana, hosted by the Bearded Villains, Southern Indiana. That same weekend, if you're over in Virginia, November 13th is Beards Away, hosted by the Virginia Bearded Villains. It's their 6th anniversary and beard competition at Bunker Brew Pub. Bunker Brew Pub. It's, again, November 13th. They had some really cool beard competition prizes, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago. So definitely hit those guys up if you're anywhere near Virginia. Beards Away, November 13th. And then lastly on the schedule that I have right now, November 26th to the 28th, it is Louisiana's largest beard competition, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Louisiana. It is Cajun Beard Bash. Cajun Beard Bash. Again, hosted by the Bearded Villains, Louisiana. There's prizes, food, music, vendors, beard competition, all the stuff. So, hit them up. November 26th to the 28th. Gets you all settled in Cajun style before we get into December. So that's what I've got on the list so far, guys. If there's anything coming up in December that I do not know about, or even in any of the months that I just skipped over I don't know about, please give me a shout and let me know. And I'll make sure I get it on the calendar of events. All right, guys. Thank you for bearing with me on this Saturday night for episode 95. I know this has been an interesting one. I'll be interested to see how much of it stays live on YouTube after the fact, especially the little snippet with The Office in there. But it's important, guys. It's important. Go back and remember that. Be your own documentary filmmaker of your own life. Very important. Very important. Live your life right now and recognize those moments. Guys, that's going to wrap it up. It's going to wrap up episode 95 of The Heart of a Villain. Remember, you can still buy all those shirts, patches, pins, poker chips, all that stuff at theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. That's also where you're going to get all of the previous 94 episodes of this podcast, coming home to 100. Guys, I want to challenge you, as I always do, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Guys, the most important words I say every week never go undiminished. Please remember these always. It's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. So for now, guys, have a great rest of the weekend. Have a great night. Enjoy the week ahead. I will see you sometime next week. And if you're going to Miami, I will see you there. Take care, guys. Stay safe.
Stay feeling one brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay feeling one brotherhood.